Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this evening. Before we call the meeting to order, we're going to have the invocation led tonight by Steve Bryant. Steve is here on behalf of Brownstone Church. Thank you, sir.
Shall we pray? Thank you, Lord, for the evening. Thank you for a great day. Thank you for wonderful weather in the state of Texas and in Weatherford. I pray for the men and women who are tonight making plans and making decisions that will impact the city of Weatherford. I thank you for their wisdom. I thank you that you said if we lack wisdom, all we have to ask is ask of you. And so today we ask for supernatural wisdom in everything that is done. I pray you'd bless their families, protect them from harm. Bless this evening in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir. We'll just stand by momentarily. Well, the clock has struck 6:30. So item 2 on the agenda is to call the meeting to order and announce we have a quorum present. All council members are here this evening. Item 3 on the agenda is pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas flags. Matt Tiskus is going to lead us this evening.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Item 4 on the agenda is items of community interest. Mr. Hotot.
I do have a few. So it's almost Christmas time in Weatherford, Texas. It actually starts this Thursday. So our friends at the Parker County Sheriff's Posse and Peerless Productions have the Radiance at the Ranch. And for those of y'all that know what that is, that's a drive-through Christmas light experience. Has over 2 million lights, and it's over 2 miles that people drive through. So they hosted it last year for the first time. Had over 19,000 vehicles that went through in that 1 month period, and to put that in perspective, that's over 75,000 people that came into the city of Weatherford. So that'll be November 18th through December 31st from 6 to 9 nightly. We are also hosting a Christmas tree lighting event down at Heritage Park. So we've actually got a 42-foot blue spruce Christmas tree that will be lit on December 1st. That'll be at 6:30, and we'll also light the park up that night, and we'll keep the lights on in the park through January 2nd. And then, of course, the big event that happens in and around the square is Christmas on the Square, and that'll be December 4th. That'll be from 10 to 4. We've also got the chamber that'll be hosting a night Christmas parade. It's the Weatherford Lights the Night event, which happens at 6:30 that evening. And then also a event on the square that evening that'll be the Jingle Ball. And so a lot of activities in and around the square around Christmas time, and so it's a good time to be in Weatherford, Texas.
Thank you for that, council. Any items of community interest? Seeing none, let's shift down to number 5, which is presentations and proclamation. Council will move down to the front for 5A and 5B. 5A is proclamation recognizing Peacock's Feed and Boutiques, 25th anniversary. 5B is a proclamation recognizing the 50th anniversary of Bob Nuttall and Karate University. And we'll come back up for 5C, and I'll read that at that time. All right, Councilman Cleveland has been very kind to volunteer to present the proclamation on behalf of the City Council for Peacocks. Councilman Cleveland.
Looks like it's an evening of anniversaries. Yes, come on up. So this proclamation, the City Council of the City of Weatherford, Texas hereby recognizes Peacock's Feed and Boutique. Whereas in 1996, Peacock Feed and Boutique opened under Blaine Peacock and his wife, Tamara, with the goal of serving and caring for the members of the City of Weatherford. And whereas over the last 25 years, the dedicated staff at Peacock's Feed and Boutique have become a strong pillar for the community with continued dedication, not only to their customers, but also the entirety of the City of Weatherford. And whereas Peacock Feed and Boutique has been expanding and diversifying over the past 25 years, adding fun events for everyone in the community, such as Christmas on the Tracks, now on its 8th annual celebration. And whereas the Peacocks have dedicated their lives, both business-wise and personally, to the support and the growth of the community, being active in different local event organizations like the Chamber of Commerce and using their business to promote other local businesses in Weatherford. Now, therefore, the Weatherford City Council does hereby congratulate Peacock's Feed and Boutique and is honored to have this opportunity to recognize the 25th anniversary of this business and Blaine and Tamara's services to the community. In testimony whereof, witness my hand and the seal of the city of Weatherford this day, Paul Pascal signed, offer this proclamation.
Turn around here and face the camera. Let's take a couple pictures. So we'd like for one of you to take just a moment and share with us whatever you'd like to share about maybe for tips for small businesses on how to survive 25 years. And I told them before the meeting started, you know, small business is the heartbeat of any community, and it's the heartbeat of our country. And to survive 20 years, the challenges that you have in a 25-year span is to be commended, and that's exactly why you're here tonight. So who's the lucky person?
Oh my, I don't even know what to say. That's amazing right there.
Yeah.
Thank you, City Council, City of Weatherford. 25 years of ups and downs, but we've made a lot of ups thanks to this lady. And I'm cracking up. So we make a lot of decisions and we do it together. Some are good, some are bad, but we do it together. And thank y'all.
He mentioned giving tips. The only tip I can really give is we work hard. Many hours, we don't give up. And that's what I can say for any small business in Weatherford. Keep your doors open, lots of hours, be there, customer service is first, and put your 100% intent effort into it, always. Yep.
All righty. Thank y'all so much, the great folks from Peacocks. Let's move on down to 5B. And could Bob Nuttall and his folks come on up, Bob? Come on up, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, thank you so much. And I'm going to do the best with my 50-year-old eyes. Yeah, your business is 50 and I'm 52, so I'm going to see how I do here. The City Council of the City of Weatherford, Texas hereby recognizes Grand Master Bob Nuttall and the Karate University. Whereas in 1972, the Karate University opened under Bob Nuttall with the goal of teaching and caring for citizens of the City of Weatherford. And whereas over the last 50 years, the dedicated staff at the Karate University have become a strong community-oriented organization dedicated to helping people of all ages, teaching life skills to the entirety of the City of Weatherford. And whereas Mr. Bob Nuttall has dedicated his life to teaching those around him, training community leaders, their children, and their families, and has helped create a family in the community around him. And whereas the Karate University is devoted to teaching self-defense to kids, adults, and families to promote the safety of our community, grounding their teachings in positivity, safety, and growing self-confidence, and stands as a strong landmark in the Weatherford community. Now, therefore, the Weatherford City Council does hereby proclaim and congratulate the Karate University and is honored to have this opportunity to recognize Grandmaster Bob Nuttall and the 50th anniversary of the Karate University for their dedicated commitment to this community. In testimony whereof, witness my hand and the seal of the great city of Weatherford, the 16th day of November 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, 50 years, Bob Nuttall and TKU. Share a few words, then we'll take a couple of pictures, if that's okay.
I am a man of few words, so that'll be fine. Very humbled, very humbled. My first dealing with the city in '72 was they came in and told me to take my sign down. It was in the wrong place, so.
All right, your time's up, Bob.
We got past that. It's things have changed tremendously, you know, and I am very, very fortunate to get to do what I do. I've got to be around so many people and so many generations. We've taught 3 generations, fixing to go into our 4th generation. And it's just amazing to watch some of the people that have trained and grown in the things they've done. And just to be part of their life is just amazing. I'm very humbled by it. And it's not really me that's done all this, it's all of you, the citizens of Weatherford. They've backed me the whole time, and I really appreciate that, because it makes a huge difference when your community is backing you. And I thank you for that.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Take a couple of pictures. Yeah, there's 2 copies in here, and so when you open that up for a picture, just hold on to them. Come on, council, let's come on here and get a photo. Couple of quick thoughts, and I kind of shared some of those with you beforehand, like I'd shared with y'all, but, you know, thousands of lives over 50 years this man has touched. And I told him, I said, Bob, you have been a parent to kids that didn't have it. You've taught kids how to believe in themselves. You've been able to say things to teenagers and young people that their parents can't get away with, right? And so when you really look at the compound effect of the lives that you've touched over the years, that web is huge. I can't even quantify what that looks like. In 50 years, 25 is fantastic, but 50, you've seen ups and downs and other things happen. But congratulations to you. Thank you for the generations of difference you made in our community. And I can assure you, as those people have moved off to other areas and stayed here, it is that the things they've learned from you have gone to their families and their communities too. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we were going to arrange a sparring between Blaine Peacock and Bob Nuttall, see if I could win some money, but we decided not to do that tonight. So thank you for being here for your recognitions, and thanks for the role you played in our community. Let's move on down to 5C, presentation of the Project of the Year Award from the American Public Works Association for the city's Church Street and Elm Street improvement projects. Mr. Matt Lepla.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, my name is Matt Lepla with the Transportation and Public Works Department, and tonight, get the picture going. Tonight I'm proud to present to you an award that we have received for the projects that you see in front of you on your screens of the location of East Church and South Elm Street. Weatherford competed and won the Historical Restoration and Preservation Project of the Year Award out of the entire state of Texas for in the $2 million category, the $2 million category, excuse me. We were presented this award at the Texas chapter of the American Public Works Association annual conference. We were honored to be recognized by our peers and a project that we were very proud of. I guess as we continue with more improvements in the downtown area, we look forward to showcasing the effort of all the departments that make projects like this possible. Special thanks go out to the water and electric departments for their work and help on this project, and to this council for their support in building a strong community. And with that, I thank you.
Congratulations on the award. It's fantastic. And I feel confident we'll have some more of those on the way. Item 6 on the agenda, council, is consent agenda items. We have items 6A through 6K. We can entertain those as a body, or we can talk about them individually. What's your pleasure? Motion by Jeff Robinson, approval of the body, 6A through 6K. There's a second by Kevin Cleveland. Any discussion on these items before we vote? Well, let's vote. Consent items pass. Item 7 on the agenda is regular agenda items. 7A is consider approval of resolution R2021-23, casting the city's votes for the Parker County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Mr. Hotop.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The Parker County Appraisal District is governed by a board of directors. It's made up of 5 directors that each serve 2-year terms, and each taxing entity that is eligible to a certain amount of votes. And so the city of Weatherford has a total of 245 votes to be able to vote for those directors. There are 6 directors that are included in your packet for consideration tonight. Only the candidates that are listed, or those 6 candidates, can be voted on. They do not allow write-in candidates, and so we're allowed to cast our votes for any number of those. We could split them up for 5 candidates, or you could cast them for 1 candidate. So we do have 245 votes. Historically, we voted the same as what the ISD has done, and the ISD this year voted for Jerry Durant and John Hinton, and so just open that up for your discussion.
Council, any discussion on that? Mr. Otop did share that the ISD has confirmed that their vote was for John Hinton and Jerry Durant. What is your pleasure?
I think that those are 2 awesome candidates and would agree with that.
This is an action item, does require a motion.
So we would need to specify the number of votes for each candidate, and
Okay.
since it's an odd number, if you were going to split them somewhat equally, it'd be 123 for one and 122 for the other, if you so choose.
I would make a
Sure.
motion that we approve 123 votes casted for Jerry Durant and 122 for John Hinton.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second? Second by Kevin Cleveland. As described, any discussion on the item before we vote? 7A. We'll go ahead and vote on it. Please indicate yea or nay on 7A. That item passes. Item 8 on the agenda is staff reports. 8A is notification of funding award for Town Creek Hike and Bike Trail Phase 3. Chad Marbach.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Chad Marbach with Capital Projects, and I'm proud to present to you Town Creek Trail Phase 3 that we were awarded funding. So just to give you an idea where we are, on this exhibit you'll see Weatherford College at the top left, and then Interstate 20 along the bottom side, the bottom right. There's also an alignment shown in blue and orange, and that blue alignment shows you Phase 2 of the trail system, the one we just constructed in 2018. Now that was the project that included a much-needed signal at Holland Lake and Santa Fe. That project was also funded through Transportation Alternatives, the same project we're talking about today for Phase 3. Now, Phase 3 begins where we ended our bike lanes right in front of Austin Elementary. That's where Texas and Washington Drive intersect. The new trail will extend from there north along Texas Drive to a flashing crosswalk system. Now, at that flashing crosswalk system, we're going to propose a new technology there where it's in roadway flashing at the crosswalk, and then also kind of a preemptive sensor that can pick up bikes and pedestrians as they approach the. Now, once across Texas Drive, the trail will continue through Weatherford College property and cross a creek with a decorative steel bridge, kind of like you see at Heritage Park. From there, it'll follow a path around the ballparks and connect to the award-winning roundabout that also provided a stub out for a wide trail system in the future. So this is working out pretty well. In total, we're adding about 3/4 of a mile to our existing system. It'll be the same 10-foot wide concrete section you see throughout our trails with the same signage and striping, but with a new safer style of technology for the crossing, and then also the black decorative bridge going across the creek. And that'll also serve for emergency access to the sport facilities. The total project estimate is just over $1 million. That's for engineering, environmental, and construction. Our 20% local match is over $200,000. That gives us just shy of $900,000 return on our investment. Now, funds for these projects are highly competitive. The state's short list was 139 applicants. That's after Phase 2. Weatherford was one of 15 cities in the small urban category to win the award for funding, and we did that with in-house city staff. So with that, I also want to thank Dr. Farmer and Weatherford College for their support and partnership in building a strong community. Without their support, this project could not happen. So over the next 6 months, the state will complete all their administrative requirements. I'll be bringing back an advanced funding agreement so that we can get started with the process. And then the construction is slated for FY23. And if we can expedite that, we will. There's no action required by council on this tonight. So with that, I'll take any questions you have.
I'll say with all the awards we've received, these are my favorite ones, funding awards. They come with the pride. I think you win the evening.
I'm always excited to see these projects because I know in my family, we use a trail system quite a bit, and there's just so many people out there on a regular basis, and so extending that out just makes it more accessible and more exciting, so it's really great. Great job to the team.
Fantastic return on investment
Yeah.
for the taxpayer dollars.
It's exciting.
And the timing on this associated with the growth and the fruition of what Weatherford College is in our community and for this whole area, Parker County, it couldn't be better. So this is really, really a win-win deal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
8B on the agenda, council, is review funds received from the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan Act. Mr. Brad Burnett.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Brad Burnett, City Manager. Over the past year and a half, we received a significant amount of money from 2 federal grants. The first is the CARES Act, which is the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. That was approved in March of 2020 by Congress to provide relief from those negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is a reimbursement type grant, which means we were reimbursed for expenditures that we'd already made. Therefore, there's no limitations on how we spend these funds. The second federal grant, the ARPA, which is American Rescue Plan Act, was approved in March of 2021, which is to help support the public transportation system. This is an entitlement grant. The entitlement grant means that we were funded in advance of the expenditure, and there are some specific rules on how we can spend this money. On the CARES Act money, we received 2 rounds of reimbursement from the CARES Act. The first reimbursement was for $343,000, and that was used to assist our utility customers struggling to pay their utility bills. We used the entire amount to help our struggling customers of that money. The second round was for $1,175,000, which was not spent, and that is currently available at this time. On the ARA funds, we received the first round of our ARA funds was for $4,156,000. We have received that, and we're scheduled to receive the second round of $4,156,000 in the summer of 2022. The total amount allocated to be distributed to the city of Weatherford, current and future, is $8,312,476. As mentioned earlier, we will be required to spend these funds for specific categories such as public health, lost public sector revenues, to pay for essential workers, water and wastewater and broadband infrastructure, and police safety, public safety and parks infrastructure. There could be some flexibility when the final spending guidelines are published. We're not sure when that's going to be. The cost for the projects must be obligated by December 31st, 2024, so we have to have those obligated by that time, and all the monies must be spent by December 31st, 2026. So there are some spending timelines on this money. Currently, the city has $5,331,197 available from the CARES Act and ARPA. We will receive an additional $4,156,000 next summer, which will increase the total available to $9,487,435. Staff understands the importance of using these funds for meaningful and impactful projects, and we have narrowed the potential use to 2 primary projects. The first project is phase 2 of a radio system upgrade. We were going to have to fund a portion of this project, whether with this grant or some other source, because the county is upgrading their radio systems, which will require us to upgrade our systems also. This wasn't a surprise. Our first phase, we purchased, as you remember, a couple of years ago, we purchased new radios, consoles, and we put a antenna on one of our water towers. But we knew at some point a total system upgrade would be necessary. This project will provide connectivity system upgrades and 2 new towers. One of the towers would potentially be at Harburger and one out the lake, which would actually help with some coverage issues that we already have at the lake. And so those are very important. The project cost for this would be about $4.8 million. The second project is a fire station. The need for a new fire station has been recognized by the City Council, and the estimated cost currently is about $4.5 million. And I put that currently because with inflation the way it is right now, I don't think that I could actually place an accurate figure on that. But we do have reserves in place right now to cover whatever that might be. However, a site location has not been identified at this point. That should come at some point in the future. Just in conclusion, we have identified 2 qualifying projects to fund with the CARES Act and the ARPA. We currently have $5.3 million available, and we will have an additional $4.1 million received next summer. And if it's all right with you guys, I will have Chief Arnold come up here and describe the projects just a little bit more to you.
Great. Thank you so much for the information. Chief Arnold, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the council, Lance Arnold, Director of Public Safety. As Brad mentioned, so we evaluated lots of projects that would fit into the ARPA funding as well as the CARES funding. We started out with really a wish list item. A lot of those items came from things that you all have mentioned at council retreats and in our future direction that we know we're going. And as you know, Brad mentioned we did phase 1 a few years ago of the public safety communications, but public safety communications represents a mission critical component of emergency response to support time-sensitive and life-saving activities. And I know that you all know the importance of that. But one of the things that we look at is communications have to be fully functional in an all-hazards environment. They have to be interoperable with our partners, reliable throughout our entire service area, and secure us against malicious actors. Just like the same threats that we get through IT, all of those are accessible through public safety communications as well in unprotected networks and environments. So the first phase that you all agreed to fund a few years ago moved us closer to achieving that better functionality and interoperability by replacing antiquated and inoperable equipment, and as Brad mentioned, adding the tower, the 700 megahertz tower, which is the dedicated band for public safety. But even with those upgrades a few years ago, we faced challenges with the radio dead zones and building penetration due in large part to our topography and our range of our current system. In addition, we are completely dependent on a system in which we do not control the maintenance or the modernization of that system. So this project would completely close the gaps in the functionality, interoperability, reliability, and security. At the same time, it drastically increases our public safety radio coverage throughout the city and in buildings. Further, the project provides high levels of redundancy that are absent in our current environment. And next, it expands our service beyond our current public safety and public utility subscribers to also include parks, recreation, special events, and other departments. And finally, the new towers, and this is kind of an add-on benefit that really isn't that big of a part of the project, but I think it will benefit those that receive it. But the new towers will allow us to partner with private cellular companies to expand services in historically underserved areas of cellular in our community with the towers as well. So that's the primary part behind the radio project. The fire station, as you all know, was a topic of discussion in the council retreat. And what we're really looking for in that is that it follows the substantial growth of our city and it allows us to fill in service and response gaps. It also allows us to dedicate space for small police work area to better serve citizens in our northeast areas of the community. And further, we intend to explore partnerships with other first responder agencies that would benefit our community in those areas as well. And ultimately, combined, both of these projects build both immediate and future critical public safety components to really just protect and preserve our future direction of public safety. And I'm available for any questions that you have.
Any questions for Chief Arnold or Mr. Burnett?
Radio program, so these 2 towers, will that completely make us self-sufficient? We will not be reliant or tied into any other entity or?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We will still be tied to the core, but what it does do is allows us to be independent on our system if we choose to do that. It also allows us to partner with other cores that might, for instance, if we wanted to partner with Fort Worth onto their core, it would allow us to do that. More importantly, that independence provides us a ring around our entire service area that if the system that we're currently on were to go down, the main components of that system, it would not affect our system. We would still be fully operational within our service area.
Great question and great answer. Any other comments? Mayor Pro Tem.
One question for Brad, and probably this is a Dawn question, but are these separately stated in the financial statements So they're outside of, when we receive this funding, because it's in different phases, are they separately stated outside?
These will be stated in our financial statements in the audit because they're federal funds. Each one has to be listed separately.
Separately stated.
Correct.
So when he's talking about using the funds for this system as a whole, and you're talking about I'm assuming what Kevin was saying is the redundancy. It allows us to be independent from everyone else. Is this like something that is an ongoing operational
Costs associated?
cost
Yes, ma'am.
associated with it? I'm just curious about that.
There is a ongoing maintenance cost. We pay a maintenance cost now for the system that we have.
Okay.
And in full disclosure, there will be an increase in that because we are adding the 2 new towers in the maintenance costs, but they're associated with the extra equipment and all of that. But that we have a maintenance agreement now to service the equipment that we do own. And then adding the 2 towers will bring those under the maintenance agreement as well. So there will be an additional operational cost associated.
Okay.
And just to clarify, when we talk about radio system, we're talking about communicating amongst emergency personnel. We're not talking about communicating with citizens at all. Is that correct?
Correct. It is, in our public utilities use the radios as well. And as I mentioned, we're expanding that to our Parks and Rec and other departments as well. But it is primarily a public safety communication system. Basically, our handheld and mobile radios that are in our vehicles and on our person.
Yeah. Speaking of radio, I also heard Chief Arnold on the radio.
Yeah.
Second career in the works here in football announcing.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
We need
He
to watch out for that.
did the play-by-play Friday
Maybe
night
a
for the
first
Weatherford
career if this
Kangaroos.
doesn't work out so well.
Hey, Chief Arnold, one more question, and you came from a larger community, and you watched that community grow and emerge. These are the normal steps that a community has to do to prepare for that growth. Can you
Yes,
comment
sir.
on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the expansion from the growth, adding more people and more locations, we're seeing that growth with the East Loop coming in, and we had to do the same things in the community that I came from. As a matter of fact, I was part of a team that was finding sites to add new towers to expand our system and our coverage. The other thing that's a little unique for us too is that as even the county starts to try to expand their system, if they choose to do that, we're limited in the number of frequencies that we have in that 700 band. And so we're also protecting for that future as well. This new system would allow us to be basically in where we don't have to go out and add new channels that may or may not be available from the FCC. And so that's another kind of component of protecting our future. So we can continue to expand the system as needed after this without going out and acquiring new channels. And that's a big piece of this as well.
Along those lines of protecting and growing, how far does that push us out? And how far does that?
It's always a question when you talk about technology, right? Of how, but this is a system that would serve long term. The only thing that I would really see anything that would change that is if our geographical alignment, with some of the strip annexations or something that we had, if we were to take in a large piece of area that we don't currently have coverage in, it would affect it. But maintaining the growth pattern that we have now, then it will serve us for many years to come.
Good question, though. Any other questions or comments? We appreciate your information, sir. Thank you so much. Item 9 on the agenda is future agenda items. Council, anything? Mr. Otop?
Yes, we will be bringing back in December, so Chief Arnold mentioned the radio system upgrades, so if you're okay with those uses that we propose, we'll be bringing back a use or a contract for the expansion of the radio system to be able to start allocating some of those dollars.
Okay. Council? We'll look to see that in December.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it's leadership. Mr. Otop, anything else?
That's it.
All right, item 10 on the agenda is executive session items. 10A is pursuant to Chapter 551 Texas Government Code VTCS Open Meetings Law in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551074. Personnel matters to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, special judge, and judge of the municipal court. 10B is pursuant to Chapter 551 Texas Government Code VTCS Open Meetings Law in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551071, consultation with attorney, pending or contemplated litigation, Encore Electric Delivery Company, LLC, PUC docket number 52779. 10C is pursuant to Chapter 551 Texas Government Code VTCS open meetings law in accordance with the authority contained in section 551071, consultation with attorney, pending or contemplated litigation, global opioids settlement. Council will go to the South Conference Room. We're going leaving for executive session at 7:03. We will reconvene back in this room for the items listed under item 11, 12, and 13. All right, we're back in regular session at 7:34 p.m. Item 11 on the agenda is action on executive session items. 11A is to take action if necessary pursuant to Chapter 551 Texas Government Code VTCS Open Meetings Law in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551074 Personnel Matters to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, special judge, and the judge of the municipal court. Council, do you choose to take any action on this item?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract for special judge of the municipal court as discussed in executive session.
Motion by Councilman Cleveland, second by Councilman Tiskus. Any discussion on 11A before we proceed with taking a vote? Let's vote on it. Please indicate yea or nay. 11A passes. 11B to take action if necessary pursuant to Chapter 551 Texas Government Code VTCS Open Meetings Law in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551071, consultation with attorney, pending or contemplated litigation, Encore Electric Delivery Company, LLC, PUC docket number 52779. Council, do you choose to take any action on this item?
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to enter into and execute a settlement agreement with Encore Electric Delivery Company, LLC, PUC docket number 52779.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Robinson, second by Councilman Cleveland. Is there any discussion on the item before we vote on 11B? Seeing none, let's vote on it. 11B, please indicate yea or nay. It passes 5-0. 11C to take action if necessary pursuant to Chapter 551 Texas Government Code VTCS Open Meetings Law in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551071, consultation with attorney, pending or contemplated litigation, global opioids settlement. Council, do you choose to take any action on this item?
I make a motion to adopt Resolution R2021-24 and authorize the city manager to execute the settlement participation form and the subdivision settlement participation form.
Motion made as read by Matt Tiskus. Mr. Robinson, duplicate with a second. Any discussion on 11C before we vote on it? We'll vote on 11C at this time. Please indicate yea or nay. 11C passes 5-0. Item 12 on the agenda is citizen comments on non-agenda items. If there's anybody in the audience who'd like to speak on this area that has not been already discussed tonight, please come forward this time. Non-agenda items. Seeing none, we'll move to item 13 on the agenda, which is adjournment. Motion on the floor by Kevin Cleveland for adjournment. Matt Tiskus is quick with the second. Any discussion before we vote on it? Okay, we'll vote on it momentarily. Please indicate yea or nay. Council's adjourned 5-0 at 7:38 p.m. Thank you all for your service and happy